How is everybody doing? Sorry for the late post. I had just one thing to another, just a very busy 48 hours. I usually post the day before. Yesterday I had a crazy day. This morning I had a crazy morning. Thank God everything's good. But here we go. So we are on day 27 of our husband's boot camp, and just to get a little bit of bearing of where we are, our first 4 days were basically dealing with the idea that our marriage is for Olam Haba. That's what we're here for, and that brought us to tremendous concepts of no blaming and respect, no matter what, and things like that. Then we dealt with a 1 day idea, which is kind of a huge thing, which is a transcendent idea of constantly given to the marriage. Always be proactive. As we called it, a good offense is the best defense. You don't need a defense when you're going ahead and you're being offensive. Always be proactive in your marriage. Give, 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 give. Don't worry about what the other side's doing. You're not going to need to dodge issues. Then we had Rabbi Miller's 10 Commandments of Marriage, Lehavdil, Dr. Gutman's 7 Principles of Marriage, and then we had Dr. Chapman's 5 Languages of Love. All important, all great ideas, but now we're going to hit an idea that's kind of, I think it's brilliant. When you first hear it, you're like a little bit like, what? Like who, where, how, what? That doesn't make sense. And then you marinate on it a little bit and you see, wow, that really is a very smart thing the more you sit and you bake on it. And that is from a doctor by the name of Dr. Harville Hendricks, who created a mode of therapy called imago therapy. And the idea of imago therapy, imago is almost like a mirror. And what this means is that, number one, all of us don't realize that we're lacking things when we come into a marriage. When we come into a marriage, every person, no matter how great your parents were, every person left you with certain deficiencies. As we said before, like from Dr. Gutman, like every person's a package. Every person comes along with baggage. There's no person that doesn't have baggage. Nobody's perfect. We're all evolving, especially at that young age. Nobody's Moshe Feinstein at 22 years old. Therefore, since we are people, and our wives are people also, that are coming in with certain deficiencies, it is our job and our responsibility to fix those deficiencies. And the crazy part is, when I fix the holes in my spouse, when I fix the problem she has in her character, in doing so, I'm actually fixing myself. Because usually we match up so perfectly, and Hashem puts us this way. That's what Hashem means when He calls a wife an ezer kenegdo, a help opposite him. Yeah, help opposite him. The fact that she's opposite you, she makes up your deficiencies. So when you go ahead and you try to fill up her voids, you're in essence helping yourself become a better person. You're A, turning her into a person that could go ahead and help you, and B, you're helping you in the process. So let's understand this a little bit deeper, okay? Let's say, just because I was dealing with a couple like this, but let's just say, okay, wife was always she was the oldest in the family. She was always, she always had to be good in order to get love from her parents. That's what she thought in her mind, and she always said, if I'm perfect, and she thrived on being perfect. Straight A student, went to college, did everything great, but she felt in her mind that she's only worth getting love, or only worth anything, only calls him on the entire time that she's being perfect. If she wouldn't be Miss Goody Two Shoes, she wouldn't get anything. Her husband, middle child, his older brother is a phenom in everything. His younger brother is his cute little kid, and he was in the middle. And his whole life, all he did was stay under the radar. He woke up in the morning, stay under the radar. He went to school, stay under the radar. Came home, stay under the radar. Just float through life. And he feels the only way he could survive is from floating through life. Now you have husband, the floater, and wife, Miss Goody Two Shoes. Now what happens after a while? Of course, you have the period of the honeymoon, and they're both good people, and everything's great. And then all of a sudden, real life sets in. And what is she looking for? She's looking for constant validation. You're supposed to be telling me how great I am Otherwise, I'm unworthy. You're supposed to tell me how awesome my dinner was. You see, the dinner I just made was the craziest, greatest dinner ever. Why don't you tell me that? And because if it's not the greatest dinner ever, I'm unworthy. And he is like, just leave me alone. Just I don't want attention. Don't put the spotlight on me. And his wife is constantly putting the spotlight on him because she feels if I put the spotlight on him, he's going to tell me how great I am. And all this is unconscious. All this is in the deep parts of their mind. And he's like, don't put the spotlight on me. Don't give me attention. So we're like, what'd you think about dinner? I was good. Why don't you ever talk to me? Why don't you ever tell me how good it was? I don't know. It was good. What do you want to tell you? It's great. It's very, very good. Really? That's all? Yeah, that's all. How was your day today? Very good. What'd you do today? Nah, I went to work. She's expecting him to ask her, what'd you do today? And she's going to say, what do you mean? I visited sick people, and I saved an old lady, and I took a cat out of a burning building, and I'm the greatest. But he doesn't reciprocate because he's, in his mind, just floating through life. That's the way he survives. He's always in survival mode. And she is always in thrive or nothing. What happens after a while? After a while, she feels neglected. After a while, he feels badgered. He feels put in a corner. Why does she always bother me for? Just leave me alone. And she feels constantly like he doesn't give me any love. But in reality, if one of them would stop this perpetual issue that constantly goes around and around between them, if one of them would stop and work on themselves, if he would work on himself and he say, wait, slow down. Why am I hiding? Why am I hiding? What am I running away from? I should be talking to my wife more. I should be giving attention to my wife. Once he does that and he makes his wife feel great, he puts her in a position where now she'll automatically give him what he wants, which is to kind of be left alone, or she'll push him up and push him to be greater than he ever was. The idea being that when we start healing ourselves, we heal the person next to us, our spouse, and in the process, we continue to heal ourselves. We have an obligation. Our obligation is shilemut, perfection. That's an obligation on myself. But that's also an obligation for my wife. Meaning to say is, it's my obligation to get my wife to be a shilema, to make my wife perfect. How do I make her perfect? By realizing that she came into the marriage with certain deficiencies, never calling her out on those deficiencies, but working on myself to try and find out what those deficiencies are and fix them for her. Because in reality, if we look at it, when we do that, then what we're doing is fixing ourselves and bringing ourselves to Shelemut. A very deep concept, but the more you think about it, the more it's true. And that's why the Torah says, Ezer kenegdo. A lady is a help opposite him. She's a help that's exactly opposite. What he doesn't need, she brings him. Because in fixing his marriage, he's going to be fixing himself. And as day 27 of the boot camp is concerned, I want us all to sit down, and this is a very benign almost exercise. But think about what are things, very deep exercise. Because our idea today was, I have certain deficiencies as a person, my wife has certain deficiencies as a person. My job is to fix those things, to understand them, not to get angry. Here's a guy whose wife never makes him dinner. Don't get angry about those things. Realize what she does do for you, and then realize that there is a reason why she's not making dinner. Let me try to help that situation along. Let me try to fix that. Let me try to make her become the best wife she could be. That may be turning a blind eye. That may be, every once in a while you cooking dinner. That may be you coaching her. Maybe we can make this tonight. Whatever it is. That requires the husband to do. And that's the whole point here, is that nobody else can do this for you. Because when you do it, you're actually fixing the deficiencies in yourself. So today's task is going to be to look inside yourself. Think about what are your deficiencies as a person. And then look at your wife and say, what are things that my wife just came into the marriage with certain baggage that I have to understand? And you're going to be empathetic about those things. You're never going to call your wife out about those things. You're going to understand those things, and you're going to realize it is your job in a roundabout way, with brilliance, genius, and the help of Hashem, to fix those things in yourself and in your wife.